Welcome to Occult Mysterium, a sanctuary, a temple where the veil of mystery is lifted and the ancient secrets of the unseen world come alive. The Shadow Queen of the Night. Who was Lilith, the woman said to be Adam's first wife? And why was she cast away from the heavens? Her story begins at the dawn of creation, but unlike Eve, Lilith wasn't formed from Adam's rib. She was created from the same earth as him, equal in every way. Yet, her refusal to submit to Adam's will would lead to her exile from paradise and her transformation into a figure both feared and revered. Lilith's tale is one of rebellion. In the ancient texts, it is said that she and Adam argued over their roles in creation. Lilith demanded equality, refusing to be subservient to him. When her pleas fell on deaf ears, she uttered the sacred and ineffable name of God, a name so powerful that it granted her the ability to leave Eden. For her defiance, she was cast away, not only from Adam's side, but from the heavens themselves. What happened next is shrouded in mystery. Some say Lilith fled to the desolate edges of the world, where she became a demon, consorting with dark forces. Others see her as a misunderstood figure, punished for asserting her autonomy in a world that demanded her submission. Lilith's banishment raises questions that resonate even today. What does it mean to challenge authority? To refuse to conform, even when the cost is exile? Her story invites us to explore the price of freedom and the strength required to walk away from everything you know, to stay true to yourself. Who is Lilith? A demon? A goddess? Or perhaps a misunderstood figure, shrouded in the shadows of history? Her story is one of mystery, rebellion, and transformation. She has been depicted as both a sinister figure of nightmares and an icon of liberation. Today, we unravel the myths, legends, and truths behind Lilith, a name that echoes power and defiance across centuries. Lilith's story begins in the ancient world. The earliest references to her come from Mesopotamian mythology, where she was associated with the night and the winds, a spirit hovering on the fringes of the human world. Her name carried whispers of danger, seduction, and independence, long before she was woven into the fabric of Jewish mysticism. But it's in the alphabet of Ben Sira, a Jewish text from the Middle Ages, that Lilith takes center stage. Here, she is portrayed as Adam's first wife, created not from his rib, but from the same earth as him, equal in every way. Yet, this equality was her undoing. When Adam demanded submission, Lilith refused, declaring, "I will not lie beneath you." Her defiance led her to flee Eden, choosing exile and freedom over a life of subjugation. Why was her rebellion so threatening? And what does her choice say about the power dynamics woven into the fabric of these ancient myths? These questions bring us closer to understanding Lilith's true essence. Lilith's story doesn't begin in Eden. It stretches back much further to the ancient Mesopotamian world, where her name first appears in early myths and incantations. In these ancient texts, Lilith is associated with the night, the winds, and the wilderness, a liminal figure, neither fully divine nor fully mortal. One of the earliest mentions of a figure resembling Lilith is in the Epic of Gilgamesh, where she appears in a story involving the Hulupu tree. In this myth, the goddess Innana plants the tree, hoping to craft it into her throne. But as the tree grows, it becomes home to several intruders, including a serpent at its base, a bird nesting in its branches, and a mysterious Lilith figure living in its trunk. This Lilith-like entity is described as a female demon who flees into the wilderness when confronted by Gilgamesh. Here, she's already depicted as a restless, untamed force associated with desolate spaces and the edges of human existence. Her ties to the Mesopotamian demoness Lamastu are also worth exploring. Lamastu was feared as a malevolent spirit who preyed on infants and pregnant women, a figure often invoked in protective charms and amulets. While Lilith and Lamastu are distinct entities, over time their characteristics began to overlap. Both were seen as threats to the domestic sphere, embodying fears of the unknown and uncontrolled feminine power. These early depictions of Lilith as a nocturnal, predatory force helped shape her later roles in Jewish mysticism and folklore. Yet, even in these ancient myths, there's a duality to her nature. She's both feared and fascinating, embodying the untamed aspects of femininity and nature that defy control. Lilith's Mesopotamian origins remind us that her story is far older and more complex than the biblical tales suggest. She has always existed on the boundary between worlds, goddess and demon, protector and destroyer, an eternal symbol of the power that lies in the shadows. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, she is described as Kisikil-lil-lake. This phrase, though challenging to translate definitively, has been interpreted as the Maiden of the Wind or Night Demon. In Akkadian texts, Lili too are wind spirits, often associated with the wilderness and storms. These beings were considered malevolent, particularly toward women and children. They were part of a larger pantheon of supernatural entities. The word Lil, Layl, or Layl in Arabic means night or nighttime. The name Layla also is derived from Arabic, which means night or nighttime. All the latter could have stemmed from the name Lilith, which means the female spirit of the night. One of Lilith's most notable connections in Mesopotamian mythology is to Lamastu, a terrifying demoness who preyed on pregnant women and newborns. Lamastu, like Lilith, was believed to steal or harm infants and was depicted with a lion's head, a donkey's body, and a bird-like talons. The overlap between Lilith and Lamastu suggests a shared archetype of the dangerous feminine associated with wilderness and the night. To protect against Lamastu, people invoked Pazuzu, a demon with a hybrid monstrous appearance, who paradoxically served as a protective figure. Amulets and statues of Pazuzu were placed in homes or worn to ward off Lamastu and her ilk. This practice parallels later Jewish traditions of using incantations and protective symbols to repel Lilith. While Lilith is not directly equivalent to Innana or Ishtar, there are thematic overlaps. Innana or Ishtar is a powerful goddess of love, war, and fertility, embodying both creation and destruction. Lilith, on the other hand, is a shadowy counterpart, representing the rejection of societal norms and the unbridled aspects of female autonomy. The shared imagery of the sacred tree in the Epic of Gilgamesh connects Lilith to Innana's sphere of influence, suggesting that Lilith may have originally been part of Innana's retinue or a symbolic shadow figure. Over time, Lilith transitioned from being a spirit of the wild and storms to a demonized figure in later traditions, particularly in Jewish texts. This evolution reflects broader cultural shifts, such as the move toward patriarchal systems, which often framed autonomous feminine figure as dangerous or subversive. Lilith's story doesn't end with her exile from Eden. Over time, her myth began to intertwine with that of another infamous outcast, Lucifer. Though the two are not explicitly connected in ancient texts, their symbolic roles as rebels and exiles have brought them together in various myths, occult traditions, and modern interpretations. Let's start with what they share in common. Both Lilith and Lucifer defied divine authority. Lilith rebelled against Adam, refusing to accept a subordinate role in Eden. Her defiance extended to God's order itself when she uttered the ineffable name of God to escape. Lucifer, similarly, rebelled in heaven. As the brightest of angels, he refused to bow to humanity, believing his loyalty should belong solely to God. His pride and pursuit of independence led to his fall, casting him into exile. Both Lilith and Lucifer chose freedom over submission, even at the cost of being cast out. In this way, they represent the archetype of the rebel, figures who challenge oppressive structures, no matter the consequences. In esoteric traditions, their connection deepens. Some interpretations of Kabbalah associate Lilith with Samael, a figure often linked to Lucifer. Together, they embody the dark feminine and masculine forces, primal, powerful, and unrestrained by societal or divine norms. Their union symbolizes both destruction and transformation, a necessary balance between creation and chaos. In modern occultism, Lilith and Lucifer are often seen as complementary figures. Lilith represents the dark feminine, the raw, untamed power of the night, while Lucifer, as the light bringer, symbolizes illumination, knowledge, and the pursuit of personal truth. Together, they embody balance of shadow and light, instinct and intellect, rebellion and enlightenment. Their partnership also carries powerful lessons. Both figures challenge us to question authority, to embrace the parts of ourselves that society fears or rejects, and to pursue our own truth, no matter how difficult the path. Today, Lilith and Lucifer have become icons of liberation in different ways. For some, they represent the courage to defy oppression, while for others, they are spiritual guides helping us navigate the balance between light and darkness within ourselves. Their stories remind us that sometimes the cost of freedom is exile, but the rewards of staying true to who we are can be profound. So, what do you think about this connection? Does it inspire you? Does it challenge you or make you see these figures in a new light? Let me know in the comments below. In modern times, Lilith has found new life as a feminist icon. Her defiance against Adam, her refusal to submit to her choice of exile, have resonated with those who see her as a symbol of autonomy and empowerment. In reclaiming her name, women and marginalized groups have turned Lilith from a demon into a goddess of rebellion. The feminist movement of the 20th century embraced Lilith as an archetype of the dark feminine, a side of femininity that refuses to be silenced or controlled. In literature and art, she's celebrated as a figure of strength and resilience. The Lilith Fair, a music festival championing female artists, further cemented her status as a cultural icon. In witchcraft and occult practices, Lilith has become a powerful figure. She is invoked in rituals that focus on shadow work, and personal liberation. Practitioners see her not as a demon, but as a goddess who guides them through their fears and helps them embrace their darkness and truest selves. Lilith's story is a reminder that power often comes at a price, but the rewards of staying true to oneself are worth the struggle. As we explore her legacy, we begin to see that she's not just a figure of the past. Her spirit lives on in those who challenge oppression and reclaim their power. Lilith's story offers us valuable lessons. Even today, she teaches us the importance of standing firm in our beliefs, even when society pushes us to conform. Her defiance reminds us that autonomy is worth fighting for, no matter the cost. In astrology, Lilith's energy is represented by the black moon Lilith, a point that symbolizes hidden desires, unclaimed power, and the shadows we often try to ignore. For many, working with Lilith is about embracing these shadows and transforming them into sources of strength. To connect with Lilith, one doesn't need grand rituals. A simple act of reflection, lighting up a candle, sitting in silence, and contemplating where in your life you need to reclaim your power can be a profound experience. Lilith asks us to look inward and ask ourselves, are we living authentically, or are we conforming to expectations that don't serve us? As we conclude, I invite you to consider Lilith's legacy. Is she a rebel, a goddess, a warning, or a guide? Her story is a mirror reflecting back to us our own struggles with power, freedom, and identity. Share your thoughts with me in the comments section, and if you feel called to explore her mysteries further, join me in future videos. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey through the story of Lilith, the first created human. Until next time, may you walk in power and truth.